Kiam Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Tenupatisha Drido Me Bhava Sutosho Me Bhava Suposho Me Bhava Arakto Me Bhava Sarva Siddha Me Prayacha Sarva Kama Sucha Me Chitam Shreya Guru Om Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tattva
I want to have your keys off on.
Why are your keys lost, sir?
You dropped them.
Yes,
so
sir.
That's my fault.
No,
right?
yeah, you lost them. That's our fault. Get in your vehicle. 10, sir.
You went
11,
from 8
sir.
to 10. 8 to 10. I thought you said you knew how to count. Count.
Come on now. 11, sir.
11 to 11.
You're earning yourself a lot of unnecessary
where's your
attention,
bag?
Dale. I don't know, sir.
Find it. Go.
Go. Go.
What are you gonna do?
That's not what I said.
Why do you got the brick again?
Sir, Lieutenant Nev, you gave it to me, sir.
Why?
You can come through, sir.
Great being, dear soul and soul. All those gods of the cosmic lineage who command coincidence to all those I offer clouds of radiance and good offerings. I supplicate you with kindness. Please grant your blessings, curses, spells, burial, sorcery, germs, obstructing spirits, obstacles, and so on. May all these things.
Wow. First time I've been in one of these in a long, long time.
Multiply the power and strength of the ritualist and force them forth like a miracle. Please accomplish the spiritual and temporal, supreme and ordinary cities, and without exception, whatever mind desires. Om Vajraspari, Om Mani Padme, Om Vajrapani, Om Ashamala Varaya, Om Ahum Vajraguru Padma Siddhi, Om Aha He Ho Savajaya Siddhi Ho Daksing Kirjat PRK. Gather ho, Sarva, gather, gather ho. Rouse all our life virtue and force, windows higher and higher. Om Yedama Hetu, Pababa Hetum, Tisham, Tatagato, Yavada, Tisham, Chayo, Nura, Evam, Shana, Swaha.
It's great to be in here with you all today. You know, it's really my passion, bringing the kind of work that we're going to do today back into correctional facilities all around this country and around the world. And the cool thing is I get to go in and I get to come out. They let me back out these days. Didn't used to be that way. So my name is Fleet Mall, and I'm the founder of Prison Mindfulness Institute, and which, as Ed said, is just right over in Deerfield now. I'm a recovering addict as well. And I did 14 years in a federal prison on drug charges. You know, I had a lot of different things going on in my life that contributed to me getting caught up in it the way I did. But, you know, I was a father. I had a son, and I kept making decisions that were putting his life and his mother's life at risk. I had to look myself in the mirror, look myself in the face, and recognize how I just making constant decisions, one after another. Even though I thought I loved my son, thought I was a good father, it was a joke. And I had to face that. And that was really hard and really painful to face. But that was really, for me, kind of the beginning of the change. Sometimes we have to get in a situation like this to discover what freedom really means. I thought freedom, when I was growing up, I thought freedom meant doing whatever the hell I wanted to do whenever I wanted to do it. That's not a prescription for freedom. That's a prescription for imprisonment, even if you're on the outside, right?
I get into a stressful situation because I've been training myself. I mean, it was a lot of effort to get there, but because I've been training myself, I'm able to see it right away.
You stop and reflect. What's going on? What do I need to do, right? But when we don't have that practice and what you've been working on, this just takes over and keeps taking us into trouble, right? But once with mindfulness, this just becomes the warning bells. This becomes the guide. Oh, I recognize that. Okay, I need to breathe. I need to get a gap, right? So I'm going to give you a little skill right now. It's called straw breathing. But it's helpful if you can be breathing with your belly, in through the nose, out through pursed lips. Okay, just keep going like that. And now we're gonna start counting the breath. So let's say you're breathing in a 4 count. In 1, in through the nose, out through pursed lips. In through the nose, out through pursed lips.
Joy of tenacity, transmitting awareness, wisdom, to lead us to perfect enlightenment. Grant your blessings so that I may realize my nature as a profound, brilliant, great being. From the northwest of the land of Uddiyana, a blooming lotus flower, you are the tame, supreme, wondrous city. You are renowned as Padmakara, surrounded by your retinue of many Dakinis. We practice following your example. Please approach and grant your blessings. Guru Padma Siddhi Om. He was neither beginning nor end, who possesses the glory of tiger lion, Garuda dragon, who possesses the confidence beyond words, homage at the feet of the rigid.
I could see why he does it, because when you become a recovering addict, helping somebody is huge. You take your time in helping somebody else in their recovery and their problems and their struggles, and it makes it so real. I look forward to helping people. I look forward to doing stuff like that.
Because he doesn't forget where he came from. And I think that's a huge part of it, because he uses his knowledge and he uses his experience to help people that are in the same situation that he once was.
What I can do is strive to be more like him and try to, emulate his experience as much as I can, apply it to my own situation.
It's a lot more useful with somebody like Fleet or myself, because you actually have a person that has done the same things that you are doing.
The most important thing that I took from it was the straw breathing, to get myself out of the moment. I've been practicing it on the block. Actually, last night I was playing handball with somebody, and they were kind of pissing me off, and I kind of just stepped back in the corner, and it just proves to me that this stuff does work, that mindfulness does work, and if you learn it and you embrace it, then I could be like him too. He hasn't been in jail in 20 years. He changed my life. Could change yours.
Garden of the radiance, wisdom bloom. May the dark ignorance of sentient beings be dispelled. May all beings enjoy profound, brilliant glory.
He's a very sensitive person. He's very, he is quite emotional, but he's not emotional in the sense like he doesn't get out of control too much. Like he's got a depth to him, definitely. And he's definitely is somebody who has suffered quite a bit. And so he has a real genuine compassion and willingness to experience and be with other people's suffering. And he's also really good at managing his emotion most of the time. And, sort of kind of able to recognize what's going on with him and just, take a breath and sort of, and I really appreciate that in a partner because, I know sometimes he gets frustrated or whatever, but I can see how much he's working on his mind.
Interestingly, I just heard from the grant people today going, what's up with that program?
Yeah.
I said, well, I'm in the middle of communicating with them, and I'm communicating with their 2 assistants. I guess they're both pretty popular.
Yeah, they've got pretty busy schedules.
So we'll have to see how that works. May follow up with Franklin County Jail because yesterday, Levin over there said he'd be really interested in getting a Path of Freedom going in the women's unit there. Yeah. And I can't remember if Kate did anything with the women's unit last year when we first got here or not.
Yeah, San Quentin, that was his project, but I think they've become a restorative justice project.
All right, we're going to start off with a guided meditation. So inviting all of us to find a posture that for each of us feels naturally uplifted and dignified, relaxed, stable. And then as you're ready, gently finding your way into the body. And in this case, by body, we mean the actual physical sensations. Everything you can notice and feel on the surface of the skin, from head to toe. With each breath, deepening our relationship with our present moment experience of being alive in a body as a feeling human being. Fairly early on in my prison time, I was really trying to figure out how to, well, I wasn't trying to figure it out. I was just motivated to really practice like my hair was on fire. I mean, I was just totally dedicated to practice and service.
We firmly believe here that people can change, and it's great to see somebody do that. I have a lot of people in my units express a desire to want to go on to become a counselor or do something to help others who've been in their situation. To see somebody actually be successful at that is really great.
I started doing some writing, and I got a few things published, and so people out in the world were kind of hearing about this prisoner who was, practicing.
Noble, I guess, that someone's going to turn a negative experience into a positive one. I think you're put in a bad situation, you are forced to learn something new, and then you take it, you make it yours, and you use it to try to help other people.
He's practiced for a long time, a number of years, and also in really adverse, difficult situations. He himself was incarcerated. So that's what's being transmitted when he's offering something, and I think that that's what's really valuable from him.
There wasn't a lot of organized Buddhist prison ministry back then, a little, but not much. But prisoners were starting to reach out to Dharma centers around the country seeking support and seeking help. And many of them started sending the letters to me. So I started corresponding with prisoners. Now, I wasn't allowed to correspond with prisoners in other federal prisons. And I noticed that when I was doing that, I was kind of in a state of bliss.
Inherently motivating, inherently validating. His approach is very effective.
I was in long enough that my fellow prisoners became my family and part of my life and part of my world. It's also every time I see when I'm able to introduce these practices to a prisoner for the first time, and I kind of see the lights go on and they get that first hit. When we're first introduced to meditation, it's like we finally realize that we have a mind and it's been running our life for a long time. And that's like this mini kind of awakening. And every time I get to see that, it's just a yes. We forget that we're all human beings, right? And so when I spend a lot of time with correctional officers, I could walk in with an attitude. I don't anymore, but even if I did, you spend several days in there training and practicing and working and hearing stories, kind of have my arms around this system that's been my life for so long and have everybody in the system be completely a human being.